I want to tell you something that took most successful people years to figure out. Something that seems almost too simple when you first hear it, but that carries inside it the complete explanation for why some people's lives keep improving and other people's lives stay exactly the same no matter how much time passes. Your life right now, the health, the finances, the relationships, the level of peace or anxiety you carry, the degree to which your daily existence aligns with the person you know you could be, is not the result of your circumstances. It is not the result of luck or timing or the family you were born into or the opportunities you were or were not given. It is the result of your habits. The small, repeated, mostly unconscious behaviors that you perform every single day without thinking about them. And the reason this matters, the reason this is not just an interesting observation, but something that should fundamentally change how you approach your life starting today, is what it implies. If your current life is the result of your current habits, then a different life requires different habits. Not a different personality, not a different background, not different circumstances or resources or starting conditions, different habits. That is it. That is the whole equation. And today, I want to give you 8 of them. Not 80, not a list so long that it collapses under its own weight and becomes impossible to implement. 8 habits. 8 specific, practical, life-changing behaviors that, when you build them into the architecture of your daily life, will change everything. Not some things, everything. Because habits do not operate in isolation. They connect, they reinforce each other, they create momentum that spills from one area of your life into every other. When you fix the way you begin your mornings, your productivity improves. When your productivity improves, your finances change. When your finances change, your stress decreases. When your stress decreases, your relationships improve. When your relationships improve, your mental health stabilizes. When your mental health stabilizes, your physical health follows. Everything is connected, and the habits that change everything are the ones that pull all those connections in the right direction at the same time. So, let us begin. The first habit that changes everything is the habit of owning your mornings. Not having a morning routine in the performative sense, not the 6-step, 90-minute ritual that you saw someone post about online and tried for 3 days before returning to reaching for your phone the moment you opened your eyes. Owning your mornings in the fundamental sense. Making the conscious decision every single day that the first hour of your waking life belongs to you and not to the world. Before the notifications, before the news, before the email and the endless stream of other people's urgency, 1 hour or even 30 minutes if an hour feels impossible right now, that is dedicated to your own development, your own thinking, your own intention for the day. Why does this change everything? Because the first thing you give your attention to in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. When the first thing is your phone, you begin the day in a reactive state. You have already handed the direction of your thinking to an algorithm. You have already let someone else's priorities become your priorities. And from that point forward, the day tends to unfold reactively. You respond to what comes at you rather than creating what matters to you. But when the first thing you give your attention to is your own growth, your own reading, your own thinking, your own clarity about what actually matters, you begin the day in a creative state. You have set the direction yourself. You have reminded yourself of your own priorities before the world had a chance to replace them with its priorities. And from that point forward, the day tends to unfold with more intention, more focus, and more genuine progress. Own your mornings before everything else and watch how everything else changes. The second habit that changes everything is the habit of daily reading. I know you've heard this before. I know reading is on every list of habits that successful people recommend, and I know that familiarity makes it easy to dismiss, but I want to tell you why I'm including it anyway, and why I think most people who have heard this advice have still not understood what it actually offers them. Reading is not about accumulating information. It is about upgrading your thinking. Every book you read that challenges your existing understanding, that introduces you to a framework or an idea or a perspective you did not have before, is permanently changing the way your brain processes the world. It's adding a lens, a tool, a capacity that was not there before. And the person who reads consistently, who adds a new lens every 2 weeks through the daily habit of reading, is not just more informed than the person who does not. They think differently. They see patterns that others miss. They connect ideas across domains in ways that generate insights other people cannot access. They make better decisions because they have a richer mental library to draw from. 20 minutes of reading every day. That's all it takes. Not an hour, not finishing a chapter at a sitting. 20 minutes, 10 to 15 pages of something that matters. Done every day before you give your attention to anything that does not grow you. This single habit, maintained consistently for a year, will change how you think. And changed thinking changes everything else. The third habit that changes everything is the habit of moving your body every single day. Not training for a marathon, not spending 2 hours in a gym, not achieving a physical transformation that requires a nutritionist and a personal trainer. Moving your body every day, in whatever form is available to you and sustainable for you. A walk, a run, a workout, a 20-minute session of anything that gets your heart rate up and your blood moving. I'm putting this on the list not primarily because of what it does for your physical health, though the physical benefits are real and significant. I'm putting it on the list because of what it does for everything else. Because exercise is one of the most powerful interventions available for mental clarity, emotional regulation, stress management, sleep quality, and cognitive performance.
The person who moves their body every morning thinks more clearly for the rest of the day. They handle difficult conversations with more patience. They make better decisions under pressure. They are more creative, more resilient, more capable of sustained focus. Their mood is more stable. Their energy is more consistent. Their relationship with themselves is better because they are doing something daily that their body was designed to do. None of the other habits on this list work as well if this one is missing. The reading is less effective if the brain is not being adequately oxygenated. The financial discipline is harder to maintain when the emotional regulation that exercise supports is absent. The courage that difficult conversations require is less available when the body is depleted. Move every day, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, and notice how everything built on top of it becomes more stable. The fourth habit that changes everything is the habit of protecting your focus. We are living in a war for your attention, and that war is being fought by some of the most sophisticated technology and the most intelligent engineers that have ever existed. They are not building apps that make your life better. They are building applications whose sole purpose is to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible, because your attention is what they sell to advertisers, and they are extraordinarily good at what they do. The result is that most people's ability to focus, to give one thing their complete, undivided attention for an extended period of time, has been significantly degraded, not because they are lazy or undisciplined, because they have been operating in an environment specifically engineered to fragment their attention, and they have never made a conscious decision to protect it. The habit of protecting your focus is the decision to fight back. It is the daily practice of giving your most important work your complete distraction-free attention for at least one block of time every day. Phone in another room, notifications off, one task, your full presence, for a minimum of 45 minutes. What this produces is not just greater productivity, though the productivity gains are substantial. What this produces is the experience of depth, the feeling of being genuinely engaged with something that matters, the satisfaction of actually finishing things instead of perpetually making fractional progress on everything simultaneously. And over time, the habit of protecting your focus rebuilds the capacity for sustained attention that distraction has eroded. You become someone who can go deep. And in a world of shallow attention, the ability to go deep is an extraordinary competitive advantage. The fifth habit that changes everything is the habit of financial intentionality. Most people have a completely unconscious relationship with money. They earn it, they spend it, and whatever remains at the end of the month either gets saved or disappears into expenses they could not account for if they tried. There is no plan. There is no system. There is no consistent, deliberate behavior around money that is building anything beyond the maintenance of the current situation. Financial intentionality is different. It is the daily, weekly, monthly practice of being deliberate about money, of knowing what is coming in and what is going out, of having a plan for the difference, of understanding that every financial decision is either moving you toward financial freedom or away from it, and making those decisions with that understanding rather than in ignorance of it. This does not require being wealthy to start. It does not require a high income or a large amount to invest. It requires the habit of tracking, of planning, of consistently putting something, even something small, into assets that grow rather than liabilities that consume. The habit of studying how wealth is built so that you can build it in your own specific circumstances rather than accidentally doing the things that prevent it. The fifth habit that changes everything is the habit of doing the difficult thing first. Every day there is something on your list, something that is important, that would genuinely move your life forward, that you know you need to do, and that you are avoiding. Not because you cannot do it, because it is uncomfortable, because it requires energy you are saving, because there is something easier available, and your brain is very good at finding reasons to do the easier thing first. The habit of doing the difficult thing first is the decision to reverse that pattern, to identify every morning the one thing that you most want to avoid and most need to do, and to do it before anything else, before the easier tasks, before the comfortable activities, before the endless preparation and planning that masquerades as productivity while actually just postponing the real work. Why does this change everything? Because the difficult thing is almost always the important thing. It is the conversation that needs to happen, the project that needs to be started, the decision that needs to be made, the financial behavior that needs to change, the health behavior that requires discomfort to implement. These are the things that actually move your life forward, and as long as you keep postponing them in favor of easier alternatives, you will be very busy every day while making very little real progress. Do the difficult thing first, every day, without negotiation, without the promise that you will definitely get to it later, before your resistance has a chance to build, before your excuses have a chance to multiply, before the day fills up with everything except the thing that matters most. This single habit will change your relationship with discomfort, and your relationship with discomfort determines almost everything about the quality of your life.
The seventh habit that changes everything is the habit of intentional relationships. You have heard that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and whether or not the specific math of that idea is precise, the underlying truth is real and important. The people around you shape your thinking. They set the standard for what is normal, what is possible, what is acceptable. They influence your beliefs about yourself, your ambitions, your sense of what you deserve. Most people have never examined this. They are in the relationships they fell into, through geography, through circumstance, through the accidents of who was available and interested at the time they were young and forming connections. They have never asked whether the people around them are pulling them up or holding them back, whether the relationships they are in are aligned with the person they are trying to become or misaligned with it. The habit of intentional relationships is not about cutting people off coldly or abandoning people you love. It is about being honest, about noticing which relationships energize you and which ones drain you, which conversations leave you more capable and more inspired, and which ones leave you more doubting and more diminished. Which people in your life treat your growth as something to celebrate, and which ones, consciously or unconsciously, treat it as a threat. And then, with that honesty, making intentional choices. Spending more time with the people who make you better. Investing in new connections with people who are where you want to be, or who are growing in the direction you want to grow. Protecting your energy from the relationships that consistently take more than they give.
Be intentional about who you let into your mind. It is one of the most important decisions you make every single day. The eighth habit that changes everything is the habit of daily reflection. At the end of every day, before you sleep, you spend 5 to 10 minutes in honest examination of how that day actually went. Not to punish yourself, not to rehearse your failures until they solidify into shame, but to learn, to extract from each day the information it is offering you about what is working, what is not working, where you are being consistent and where you are falling short, and what you want to do differently tomorrow. Most people end their days unconsciously. The day simply stops and sleep begins without any intentional processing of what happened or what it means. And the result is that the lessons available in each day go unextracted. The patterns that are keeping you stuck go unnoticed. The small victories that should be building your confidence go unacknowledged. And tomorrow begins exactly like today because nothing from today has been examined or adjusted. Daily reflection closes that loop. It makes you a student of your own life. It turns every day, even the bad ones, especially the bad ones, into information that compounds into wisdom over time. The person who reflects daily for a year has extracted more understanding about themselves and their patterns and their growth than most people accumulate in a decade of unreflective living. 5 to 10 minutes. A journal if you have one, but even just your own thoughts if you do not. 3 questions at minimum. What went well today? What did not go the way I wanted? What will I do differently tomorrow? That's all it takes. Simple questions, honest answers, daily practice. And over time, this habit builds something that cannot be built any other way: self-knowledge. The deep, accurate, continuously updated understanding of who you actually are, your strengths, your patterns, your triggers, your tendencies, your actual values versus the values you think you have, that allows you to navigate your own life with clarity instead of stumbling through it in the dark. So there they are, 8 habits. Own your mornings, read every day, move your body every day, protect your focus, practice financial intentionality, do the difficult thing first, be intentional about your relationships, reflect daily. None of them are dramatic. None of them will make headlines. None of them will generate the kind of before and after story that goes viral or produces a transformation that is visible to anyone who has not known you for at least a year. But all of them compound. Every single one of them builds something that makes the next day's version easier. Every morning owned makes the next morning slightly more automatic. Every book read makes the next book richer. Every workout done makes the next one slightly less difficult. Every difficult thing faced makes the next difficult thing slightly less intimidating. Every day reflected upon makes the next day slightly more informed. And the person who builds these 8 habits and maintains them, not perfectly, not without gaps, but consistently over months and years, that person does not just have a better life, they have a fundamentally different relationship with the concept of growth itself. They stop needing motivation because the habits have become identity. They stop waiting for the right moment because they have learned that the right moment is built through daily action, not found in exceptional circumstances. They stop looking for the shortcut because they have experienced firsthand that consistent, boring daily practice is the shortcut, that there is no path to an extraordinary life that bypasses an ordinary day lived extraordinarily well. You already know what you need to do. You have known for a long time. The question has never been knowledge. It has been consistency. It has been the gap between what you know and what you actually do every single day. These 8 habits close that gap. Not immediately, not all at once, one habit at a time, one day at a time, one morning at a time. Pick one, just one, the one that if you built it and never broke it, would have the largest impact on your life right now. Start there. Make it so small and so simple that you genuinely cannot say no. Repeat it every day until it becomes automatic. Then add another. You are not trying to change your entire life in a week. You are trying to change one habit in 30 days, and then another, until 8 habits are built and maintained and compounding, and the life that results from them is unrecognizable from the one you started with. That's how it works. That's how it has always worked. Not in a single dramatic decision, but in the daily undramatic choices that nobody sees and that quietly build the only thing that was ever really yours to build. Your life, your habits, your choice. Start today with one. Before you sleep tonight, know which one. That's everything. Everything else follows.